Hello and welcome back to the final 2015-16 edition of Coach B Weekly for RMUColonials.com. I'm Ken Baker, and it's the last one where I can say associate head coach and head coach in waiting Charlie Buscaglia. Coach B, as he is respectfully called, will take over the program next season. And Coach B, what a tremendous season it was. A great way to end Coach Sal's long and historic career. But let's go take a look back at this season as it progressed, and it was an up and down, a bit of a roller coaster ride for you guys this year. You started off preseason pick number 1. I think the non-conference schedule, you guys really showed a lot of potential, and you got into conference play. You started out 4-0, and then you hit a low. But you recovered, you came back the end of the regular season very strong and went into the playoffs a very hot basketball team.
It was a season of ups and downs, and I thought that built a lot of character because we had to respond to the test so many times during the season. Being preseason pick number 1, almost unanimously, one vote went to somebody else. I believe it was Sacred Heart, and us, ultimately playing in that final game. You look at the start and the finish, and you say, well, it's exactly where it was supposed to be, just that Sacred Heart wound up at home. But so many things happened in the middle there that really defined why we got to that point. And like you said, early on in the season, we were able to have a nice out-of-conference record. Our out-of-conference record was the strongest in the leagues. It set us on top of the conference, and it looked great. And it looked like, things were just like where they were supposed to be, and we were going to roll through the conference easily. And going into the Christmas break on a nice win down at Georgia Southern, on a kids' day with a lot of people there, a lot of kids, that was a great win and a lot of momentum going into the break. And then coming back from the break, beating Delaware, who's a historic program, made it to the semifinals in the CAA. That was a great win. I felt that, the long break we had for Christmas, we did a great job of getting them back started again, and I thought we were more ready for that game. Started conference play, we start 4-0, everything's rolling again. The 2 games we hit on the road to make it 3 and 4-0 were tough games. Yeah, they were tough games, and we did not play our best basketball, but we got out of there with the win both times, and I was feeling a little worried about where we were going. And people would think you're 4-0, you got the best out of conference record. How could you be worried? It was just because I wasn't seeing the progression. I thought that we were changing things too much in between games. We were really playing the opponent. We were mixing up a lot of defenses, and a lot of people feel that that's always great coaching. You change defenses, you do this, but you still have to have an identity. If we're going to be an identity of a team that focuses on defense and we change a lot of defenses, well, that's going to be your priority every practice is working on defense and changing defenses. And there's no way, there's not enough time in the day to be 5 different teams. And, once in a while you could throw a wrinkle at somebody in a big game or something where you have time to prepare. But you still got to have an identity. And we were lacking that identity, and that's where ultimately I think some of the struggles had occurred. And we had to make some adjustments. And the adjustments definitely were that we were going to find an identity in what we ran offensively, and we were going to find an identity in what we attacked teams with our defense with. And we had to be more of an attacking defense as we were sitting back too much, and we went to a man-to-man accountable defense, which is the way I love to play, and we went into an offense with more continuity where the players had more empowerment to go out there and read. But it made sure everything at practice was the most important thing. And that's the most important thing that we do is practice, and practice intensified, the accountability went up, and then we were able to get through those bad points that you were talking about and ultimately have a great finish to the regular season and go into the playoffs.
When you talk about that great finish, as you said, Robert Moore started off 4-0 in conference play, sitting at 8-7 with 3 games left in the regular season. You guys just rolled off 3 big victories, including a couple on the road to end the regular season.
Yeah, that was probably a judgment day down the stretch because, we were a team that had beat the top teams in the league, like Sacred Heart at the time, who was on a big winning streak going into those last 3 games. And we had beat Bryant at home also, who was sitting at the top of the league also. So the 1 and 2 teams, we had already beat them, and we knew that we could. We just hadn't been able to beat them on the road yet. But then we had also turned around and lost to teams that were sitting towards the bottom of the league. A team like St. Francis of New York, who we always know, St. Francis of Brooklyn, they are a tough team and they're well coached. They get better as the year goes on. And we lost to them at home on a big day for the seniors and Coach Sale. And, we had those downfalls. But at the end of the day, when it came down to those last three, it was the judgment time to say, hey, are we going to respond now? Our back's against the wall. If we don't win these last three, we don't secure ourselves a home game in the playoffs. And we knew that having that first game at home was going to be very important. And also, we needed the momentum going in because we needed our mindset to be like, hey, we want challenges, and this was our first challenge.
And then you get into the playoffs, you're able to knock off Fairleigh Dickinson at a home game to open up the NEC playoffs, a team that you'd lost twice to in the regular season. You go out to Bryant to meet Bryant in the semifinals for the third year in a row, second year in a row at Bryant, and that was a dogfight. Neither team did well offensively, but at halftime, really you saw a sea change in your team's response and how they handled Bryant in that second half.
It really started with, when we beat St. Francis of PA that last game, they were a high-powered offensive team. And they're the type of team that plays a different style than anybody else in our league, mostly anywhere else, in the country. They play a very up and down, pressing, shoot very quickly style, maximize possessions, and we are a different kind of team, the way we play. So that game there, winning that game and holding them way under their season average, that was the ultimate momentum to say, hey, we can go out there now and we can face these challenges and we can hold teams to what they're trying to do. And Fairleigh Dickinson, that game, we did a great job again defending, especially down the stretch against Cruz and Livermore, who are two great players that really were the reason why they beat us the first two times, is that they had two go-to players to fill in with some nice role compliments. And after that game going into Bryant, we had just accomplished two great tasks. So our mindset was great. I felt like the players really understood that it's not about going out there and hitting all your shots early and getting off to a big lead and trying to open up and then hang on. It's about winning the game as the process goes along of, those big possessions, first half, second half, where you've got to get big stops, big rebounds. And in the Bryant game, we didn't get off to that great start. We were down 24-21. I remember that very, very vividly. And we went back to the locker room, and I was so confident because we had not shot the ball well. They were playing really hard, Bryant, but we were down 3. And the way we'd been playing going towards the end of the season, I said, I know we won't back down in the second half, and we'll continue to fight. It's just a matter of how much they're going to be able to fight back with us.
And obviously you came back against Bryant, a huge offensive second half. The defense remained where it was in the first half. You guys go 21-29 from the field in the second half against Bryant, setting up a championship contest against Sacred Heart University. And, sometimes things come around full circle, in sports. And, something that I feel like I kind of maybe overlooked was, getting back against Sacred Heart in the championship game. And that's kind of where it all started with the resurgence of this Robert Morris program with the arrival of you and Coach Sal in 2003-04. That first championship game, you guys took on Sacred Heart, beat them by 2 at this place. And then Coach Sal going into his last championship game, again against Sacred Heart. A place that you guys have struggled, and just the way that the team reacted. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about how Leah Warmack stepped up and how Ashley Ravelli stepped up in that game. But, how neat is it to have those things kind of come around full circle? Yeah,
it was great. It was great for everyone. And, like you said, the things about with Coach Sal, the memory of that first time playing in the, winning the conference championship at home. The second time we had played in it, but the first time we had won it was at home against Sacred Heart in a very tight battle. Going into that game with the momentum we had was awesome. The feeling we had when we beat Bryant and how well we shot the ball and everything came together, and we got the hustle plays, we got the 50-50 balls in the ground, and we hit some really big shots, and our energy was like we didn't even play. Like we just came out there and we were just completely fresh. That's how much we were moving and running and talking. That momentum going into that championship game was so important. And walking into that gym because the anticipation of playing on a Wednesday and then waiting till Sunday for a conference championship is something you have to get used to. So I thought that the big thing about that game is keeping the players focused but not getting them riled up to where they couldn't sleep at night and they were nervous about the game and the TV and all the interviews. We really did a great job of keeping distractions away from the team. We stayed out there, like we talked about before, at a hotel out in Connecticut, and we didn't go back from Bryant. We stayed right out there the whole way through, which was a great move. And walking into that gym, after we had prepared them as well as we did, we were very confident. Not that we would ultimately win the game, but that we would play our butt off, and that we would, at the end, be able to hold our head high. And the goosebumps were going though when we got back onto that court as there was 3 minutes to go as we came out of the locker room in warm-ups, and the bands were going crazy, and the cheerleaders were all on the court, and ESPN had the cameras in our face, and it was the goosebumps were there, but we were so ready for it and so focused that it was a great storybook ending for Coach Sale to go in there and win at a place that he's always struggled to win at. And some of those games were overtime, last possession type games, and it seemed like we could never get over that hump and win at that place. And it just tackled a lot of obstacles, and I'm really proud of the team and the program for overcoming that big challenge.
Yeah, and you could see early on that you guys were in the right mindset when, I can still picture the play of Leah Warmack diving for a loose ball. This girl's held together with, duct tape and spit, and she's just, she's horizontal going after a loose ball, and, you knew right away that your team was in the right mindset for that championship run.
That was her play of the year, and she hit a huge shot in that game. A huge shot.
Yeah, that 17-footer hit from the top of the key late game.
That was huge. And so everybody that, watches the game as, a casual fan or, anybody, their own opinion might be that was the shot of her career. But I'll still always say that diving on that floor for the loose ball and getting it to the outlet and just the focus and passion and desire to just forget about everything else in the world and do that was like one of the proudest moments I had as a coach. And it was really special with Leah because she was only here for a year. And we're a team that likes to go through the process of the 4 years and develop kids' character and teach them how to to overcome challenges and adversity. And she was special because she was able to come into this team and do so well as a leader without being here for any time before that. And a lot had to do with that diving on the floor for a loose ball. That was her mindset. She never let an injury keep her down, and her energy was always positive. And sometimes it was so positive that it was like you couldn't even imagine like that she could be being real about it, and she was. And the team really benefited from her. And that play right there was probably not only her play of her career, but my favorite play of the whole game.
And you talk about Leah as a senior, she's going to graduate going on to med school, and to learn out more about Leah's story, there's a special feature on our YouTube site. Go ahead and check it out about Leah Warmack and her career and what she plans on doing going ahead. But you have 3 other seniors who have all been very integral parts of your team for the last 4 years, and it's going to be a tough job replacing them. And that's Randy Jackson, Lou Madley, and Ashley Ravelli.
They were great. They all had different roles, and they were all leaders in their own way. Ashley, obviously the vocal one, the point guard. Those 2 big free throws.
Not always a point guard.
Yeah.
She went through a huge change in her career.
Yeah, last year, that was a big. She had some big moments. Ashley always had a big heart, and she was always a leader by nature. But she had some things she had to change with, keeping her emotions in line and being a steady player at the top of her game and staying steady whether she missed shots or whatever had happened. And that's what we had worked on, and she got so much better at that. But you're right, last year she was told she was moving positions, and she took it great. She took a deep breath, and then she said okay, because she knew being the point guard she was going to have to get the team into their offense, handle the ball. She was going to get pressure. People were going to throw things at her, and it wasn't always smooth. But I remember after we made that change, we went on a big run. And that run was a big part of our year last year to get to the finals. And this year, she had her ups and downs again and everything, but she at the end of the day, having that ball in her hands was really important. And a leader at the point guard position is crucial. And she was a very vocal leader, and she handled that well. I think that's why that position was better for her with the way she was mentally. Randy Jackson, a kid that doesn't play much at all throughout the whole 40 minutes, but then you could put her out there in the last 2-3 minutes of a game to close out defensive stops. That was an amazing role, and she realized that was her role early in the year where we started doing that. And not many players are good at that role. You come in completely cold into a game, and then you got to go out there and defend and do things that she did. And her signature was, at the end of her career, was defending the post player down the stretch when we switched on everything. And she was, swimming in the post to get around her, and it was awesome. And I remember Nell Fortner on ESPN was raving about that, about how, look at Randy Jackson down there getting around in the post and not making that pass easy, and making the player with the ball defer to the other player. And anyways, that was an amazing moment for her. And obviously Lou Madeley, who was more the quiet leader. Lou wasn't one to really talk a lot and get in people's face, or get to be the first one that was real loud at practice. But she grew up a lot with that. She came a long way, and at the end of the day, her intensity on the court was unbelievable. I remember her hitting that shot from the left elbow off the ball screen, and then the emotion of her pumping her fists and everything, which was a late shot in the game, which ultimately helped us win also. And her attack in the press when they were pressing us at the end, wondering if she should go all the way to the basket and finish it. When Lou, when she'd catch the ball against the press as a freshman, she would get real shaky with it and dribble it out, and she'd get double teamed and lose the ball. And now she's got the ball speed dribbling on a 2-on-1, wondering, should I attack the coach or should I not? And those conversations on the bench in the heat of the moment are what I'm going to remember. I'm a real big in the moment guy, and those 4 freshmen in the moments really responded and showed their true character. I'm very proud of them, and I'm going to miss them, and so is the rest of the team.
And you talk about missing them. It's going to be a much different summer for you, for your squad. First of all, you're losing this senior class, and really for the last 2 years they've kind of been your senior class. You had a one-person senior class, and Jolie Olengendi, and 2014-15, so really, Ashley, Lou, Randy have been your leaders for 2 years. Now you have a junior class coming up, Janae Brown, Anna Nikki Samalamprou, and going blank here, I'm going to kill myself.
Janae Brown,
Anna Nikki,
and Rebecca Navarro.
Rebecca Navarro, and I forgot about Rebecca. My apologies, Zach. You have this junior class stepping up, and you're stepping out of the associate head coach role, moving down one space in the suite up there and taking over that head coach's role. What's going to be different over this next 6 months?
It's been a transition for everybody. Obviously the seniors being done now and their careers being over. That was the first thing that was hard for me to really process. It was very difficult to see 4 players that we really care so much about. Me personally, I've been here the whole time they've been here, and Coach Schneider also, and Coach Sale. Just seeing them grow up to that point of performing in that big moment, and then knowing that it was a great finish, but it really makes you more emotional and sad when you know that that's over with now. And all I ever wanted to do with those kids was to teach them how to grow up and to be tougher and to respond when adversity comes. And they did that so well. So that was the first part of the process that was tough, is that I had to realize that they weren't going to be around anymore as far as our team stuff and our workouts, and that's tough. And I have to understand, and the team has to understand that this transition now means that you're going to pass the torch on to the new leaders, the players that now are going to be out there really expected to make that big step over the line of being a leader and a vocal teammate and a positive standard in the locker room every day. And those juniors that we talked about really understand that, I think. I really think they understand that at this point. It's going to be yet to be determined if they do it, but I've seen already down now in the postseason stuff where we've met and stuff, that, you know, they have a different way about them. And it doesn't have to be just them. You know, it could be, you know, sophomores that are rising into juniors or freshmen rising into sophomores. No class ever defines what a leader is. But, you know, Coach Sale stepping down, it happened very quickly. You know, after the season was over, it wasn't very long before he already had his office, you know, moved out, and he was already out of his apartment, and he was ready to, you know, pass the torch to me. And, you know, that's something that I learned from this process was, you know, you have to be able to pass the torch. And, you know, it's tough sometimes, but I'm looking forward to watching juniors become seniors and everyone move up another year below them and see some new leadership. See like how Ashley emerged, and Randy and Lou and Leah. See how that happened. It can continue to happen over again. It just all has to do with the standard that's set every year in the locker room.
And I certainly think you had a good standard with this senior class who's moving on in their lives, and certainly Anna, Nikki, and Janae and Rebecca. You know, if they were watching, they learned a lot of the right lessons from that senior class. Well, Coach B, it's our last one for 2015-16. It was a tremendous season. I thank you for all your help and being available to do this each and every week. And it's going to be a different summer for you, and I hope you take the time to enjoy it. But, you know, we look forward to seeing you next October when practice gets rolling.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work, you know, the transition, you know, getting things organized. I have a lot of my own philosophies, and obviously with the staff and everything, getting things moved around with the roles, and everyone has to step up in different areas now with the change of the structure. But we are a tireless staff, and we really appreciate all the support that's been given to us from the administration to the fan base. It was a great season, and I'm really happy we could send Coach Sale out in the style that we did, and he had a great stage there against UConn to really end his career in that press conference. So we have a lot of emotional momentum going forward, and you know, one thing about this team is that we have some good talent coming back next year. We have some nice young players coming in, and I really feel like we're at a pinnacle now, where, you know, Anna and Nikki becoming a senior, Rebecca and Janae, we could have a nice senior class again next year, and we can, you know, continue to grow as a program, and just continue to show each and every year that we're going to continue to do the things that we've done lately. And my conviction is to continue with all that, and the structure of the team will be always strong, and we'll be a team that cares about the process and the principles of what we're teaching. And you know, win or lose, you know, we will be a team that, you know, at the end of the game, we'll have our head up high because we have worked our butt off to win the game for 40 minutes. So I'm very excited about it, and you know, this summer is going to be a lot of traveling and recruiting, and I'm, you know, very much looking forward to, you know, next season and my opportunity here to continue on with a great program that Coach Sale has left me with.
All right, and before we go, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that there is a feature, almost nearly a half-hour-long feature on the Colonials' trip to the NCAA tournament and their game against #1 and eventual national champion UConn. So make sure you watch that on our YouTube channel as well. And we'll be back with a 2016-17 edition of Coach B Weekly, and we look forward to seeing you then. For RMUColonials.com, I'm Ken Baker.